Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 838, 838, Monday, July the 15th, 2019. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, let's get started. Well, I was really happy to see this appearance by Devin Nunes over the weekend on Fox. And I've been watching Nunes for a long time, and there's a lot of other people I've seen who basically come out and say, yeah, these guys who tried to pull off this coup, exonerated the rotten Reverend Clinton when they knew she was guilty, the people involved in all this, these people need to go to jail. But Nunes has never really gone there before. He always says, well, they need to be held accountable or whatever. He checks his language and doesn't really go all the way there. But he was on Fox over the weekend, and he very bluntly and matter-of-factly made a statement saying, yes, these people do need to go to jail. So it's nice to see that Devin Nunes has finally come full circle, and he's no longer softening his language, and he is saying exactly what should happen, and for all the reasons that I've mentioned in the past, and many of you have echoed in the comments section. I mean, we all understand this is a very simple concept, and that is, if you let these people get away with what they did, there'll be nothing to stop them from doing that or worse in the future. So he's on with Fox, and he says, quote, finally, he says, he says, quote, there are a bunch of dirty cops, and I'll tell you, some of them better go to jail, or we're going to go down in a spiral in this country, because you will not have a Republican that will trust the FBI or DOJ for generations to come. Yeah, that's part of it, but it's actually worse than that. It's the fact that if they get away with it, and they can, they see that they can actually do what they did, exonerate someone who's extremely guilty, like the Rotten Reverend, and then turn around and turn it around and run a coup, a frame up literally on a not just candidate president-elect, but president of the United States after he's elected. If they can pull that off and walk away scot-free, there's nothing to ever stop them from doing much, much worse. And this is why that I've been saying for many, many years, many years ago, what first actually kind of got me into a lot of this stuff was the JFK assassination. You know, I was fascinated by everything around that when I was much, much younger. And I spent hours and hours and hours and watched every documentary and every video and read everything I could get my hands on about that. And I concluded that we made a huge mistake in not holding the people accountable who were involved. And of course, the CIA was deeply involved in the assassination of JFK. And you can see all the things that they did after that that were horrible as well. Many, many things. And things got really, really bad. After JFK, it's like, I mean, you know, up until then, yeah, they did bad things. But once they did the JFK thing and they were never held accountable, they did much, much worse, and things just got really, really bad, and they're spiraling out of control. And that's why they felt that they could get away with something like this. I mean, if you can blow the president's head off in Dealey Plaza and walk away scot-free, then why couldn't you pull off a coup, 25, 30 years later? So, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's what many of you are talking about. And Devin Nunes, I'm glad to see he's finally come around to using the language that needs to be used. I mean, you should not be shy about saying that these people need to go to jail. Look at what they did. Of course they need to go to jail for a very long time. Now, there'll be people say, well, it's a treason. They should be get the firing squad or what have you. And, I don't know. I mean, if you look at the definition of treason, probably not quite there. But certainly sedition, absolutely 100% sedition. So these people should be charged on many, many, many felonies. Sedition would be at the top of my list. But also you've got abuse of power, obstruction, lying over and over, many, many, many counts of lying, just all kinds of rule violations. I mean, there's a lot there, enough to put a lot of these people away, and should put them away for the rest of their lives. And I'm talking about the top tier. There's about 30 or 40 people at the very top, and that would include Obama. And it's good to know that the Democrats have informed us all recently in the last couple of months that no one is above the law. Remember? They just told us, all the Dems just told us, no one is above the law, including the president. I'm glad that the Democrats feel that no one's above the law, including the president, because I think here in the next probably 6 months to a year, we're going to be asking that question. Is Obama above the law? Is he above going to jail for what he did? He was one of the top tier principals in the plot. Well, it looks like we have Ram Deadfish Emmanuel saying that Chakrabarty is a snot-nosed punk. Okay, so what we're talking about here is this. I guess this guy is like AOC's chief of staff or her campaign manager, whatever you want to call it. It's like her right-hand man, this guy Chakrabarty. And yeah, he's been making some comments. The one comment he made earlier this week suggesting that the new Green Deal was never about green energy or anything else. It was about changing the economy. In other words, this guy's a commie. And he doesn't try to hide the fact that he's a commie. And you got to wonder if he's the guy that's in AOC's head all the time, prompting her to say the crazy shit that she says. So there we have Ram Deadfish Emmanuel coming in to be counted on what he thinks about all this. And he's got enough of his own problems there. But anyway, this is just, of course, he's a Clintonista, so, you know, he's going to side with that part of the party, sort of the centrist Democrat party. So, which is really liberal, but when you compare it to the AOCs, that they look fairly centrist. I mean, you know, when you can make Emmanuel and Pelosi and these people, when you can make them look like centrists, you're pretty damn far to the left. So she's taking she's taking a beating. She's going to continue to take a beating. And as I said this past week, earlier in the week, I think she crossed the line with Madame Botox. I think Madame Botox has been tolerating her as much as she can, but I think those days are over. I think that probably at some point this week, Madame Botox has probably spoken with people at the DNC and the DCCC and made it perfectly clear that they need to get rid of her, along with the other three, the 4 horsewomen of the apocalypse. They need to be taken out in their midterms in 2020. They need to be taken out. And I think that the DNC, DCCC is going to be working pretty hard to do that. They've created a lot of divisions, put a wedge there that really wasn't there. It was there, but it was kept under wraps and behind closed doors. It was controlled. But there's just no controlling these people. Just like I said, after the midterms, these are like a herd of wild cats. And there only maybe 4 or 5 of them, but they have Twitter, and that makes them appear a lot more powerful than they are. And so, I mean, this is exactly what's to be expected, I guess. I kind of saw it coming, but I think that Pelosi is pretty shrewd. She's been around for a very long time. And the thing about the Democrats is that they stick together. They're very good at that. That's one thing they do well, is they do stick together. They sort of have a hard and fast rule in the Democratic Party, especially with Pelosi, who's been around for a very long time. There was times, I'm sure, in her earlier career where she wanted to say things and probably kept her mouth shut, fall in line. That's how you work your way up through the Democratic Party and eventually get into power. You fall in line. You don't buck the system, and you certainly don't challenge the power of the leadership. And when you challenge someone like Madame Botox, she takes that very personally. I can assure you that. I mean, she's I guess you could say she's very nasty in that sense, but she's that type of old school Democrat, liberal Democrat, that if you challenge her authority, she's going to make you pay. She's not just going to walk away and let it go. That's not going to happen. So I do expect in 2020, it's going to be very interesting to see what the DCCC and the DNC do in those 4 districts where they have the 4 horsewomen of the apocalypse, how they are going to get rid of them. Whether it's to challenge them with someone backed with a lot of money, or whether it's going to be just getting rid of that voting district. Which they'll do. Just ask Dennis Kucinich. If they can't get you out by voting you out, they'll just get rid of your voting district. The Rotten Reverend Clinton was at a little get-together on Saturday in her hometown of Chappaqua, whatever you want to call it. She was at a little gathering. She drew about 50 to 75 people, and she admitted that she has been traumatized and essentially amidst suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. Now, I couldn't take watching the whole thing. I watched about half of it, but I watched enough of it to tell you that what that was, that little speech, what that was essentially a stump speech, a campaign speech. So, you know, a lot of people still say she's out, she's not going to throw her hat in the ring. I think she's sitting back waiting for Biden to implode. And once Biden implodes, there's really, you know, no one else there who can carry the banner for the so-called centrist or whatever. So I think that that's what she's waiting for. You know, again, when you look at these speeches that she's making, these are they're advocacy speeches, and they are that, but these are political stump speeches that she's giving. So she continues to raise money, and she continues to be out there, which the Democrats don't really want. If you remember, it wasn't that long ago, after she lost the election, she continued to go out and give these speeches and stuff, and we were hearing from the Democrats and the party regulars saying they just wish she would just go away, because she doesn't help their cause. That's why I hope the Rotten Reverend continues to go out and give speeches, and I hope in 2020, whether she runs or not, that she continues, and she says she's not going away, and that's great. I hope she goes and campaigns in every tight district that there is. I hope she's out there and stays out there, because the more that people see of the Rotten Reverend, the better it is for us. Of course, the Mueller hearing has been pushed back to July the 24th, and of course the issue is that there wasn't enough time for everybody to ask questions. That violates this House Rule 11, so it looks like Nadler and Schiff had to renegotiate with Uncle Bob, the drive-by executioner, and now they're pushing it back for another week, and what they'll be doing is adding another hour to each of the two hearings for a total of 6 hours instead of 4, which they believe will be enough time for everybody to ask their 5 minutes worth of questions. So we'll see if that materializes. I still say it's 50-50 whether or not Uncle Bob shows up or not. You know he doesn't want to. Well, the deportations began on Sunday. It looks like they started in New York City. Of course, it's a little tough in New York City because Comrade de Blasio is assisting the illegals in avoiding capture. And so it's going to be a little tougher in these places where we have mayors and city managers and police chiefs and various other politicians doing everything they can to disrupt the process of removing the illegals from the country. So they're going to run into a lot of that in New York City. It's going to be a tough deal. So they're going to have to, they can't go out and announce when they're going to do that. They're going to have to do it in a different way. Otherwise, they will be thwarted at every step. But these deportations, like I said, they began Saturday in New York City. They're going to be continuing in the next few weeks, and I'm surprised they put this out. I certainly wouldn't have put this out, but since they did, I'll tell you that the cities that they're targeting next will be Atlanta, Chicago, Miami, Denver, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Baltimore, New Orleans, and Houston. Well, I don't know how many of you saw that video of crazy Uncle Joe, China Joe Biden, where he was surrounded by those crazy leftists who were wanting him to apologize for he and Obama's deportation policy. Of course, they were demanding he apologize, and if you saw the video, of course, he said no. Well, he didn't say no and apologize. He just never did. He wouldn't apologize because I think he's learning that when you do that, it's politically not something that you should do unless you have said something that's really offensive or whatever. It's hard to apologize for policies that you supported or whatever. You have to do better than that. So anyway, I think he's figuring out that that was a bad idea. That didn't go well. All that happens is you get beat to death, and you've just given up your defense because you essentially admitted your guilt by your apology. So he's figured out that that's a very bad political strategy, and so he didn't get suckered in on that one this time. So he actually did not apologize, and he says no, that he would not promise to halt deportations. He said because some of those people are felons and they do need to be deported. He said they would stop family separations, but he didn't say how. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if he was president right now, he couldn't do anything more than Trump could do to stop deportations. The issue isn't the president. The issue is the law. And that has to do with the Congress. The president can't do anything about that. But crazy Uncle Joe didn't seem to offer that up or even discuss it. He just, again, said, if I'm president, I'll stop the deportations. Well, no, you won't. No, you won't, or the separations, I mean. So, no, he can't stop the separations as president. Congress is really the only one who can do that, and they have to do it by changing that law. So, what you saw there was you had crazy China Joe trying to reason with an angry mob. And, of course, the thing about these far left-wing radicals, progressives, demo commies, you cannot reason with them. Joe Biden's mistake is that he believes that this radical left wing of his party, that you can just go out and talk to them and explain to them your positions and why you have this position or whatever, assuming that this is the way it used to be. But it's not that way anymore, and Biden is going to figure that out. You cannot reason with these people. They don't have the capacity, first of all, to even understand your argument. Okay? They don't even have the capacity to work this through in their mind, nor are they interested. They aren't interested. Okay? These are activists who just want to complain. This is, if they didn't have this to complain about, they would find something else. They live to be miserable. You ever heard the phrase, some people aren't happy until they're miserable? Well, that's who these people are. They found their way into the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, and there's nothing that you could do to keep these people from crying and complaining. This is all they'll ever do. This is all they know how to do. This is what makes them happy. This is what makes them feel good. And it makes them feel like they're doing something, I guess, worthwhile. But you cannot reason with these people. And eventually, Biden will figure this out. These are not people who use their minds to work out things and think things through and come to rational decisions based on facts and evidence and reason. This is not who you're dealing with. You're dealing with nuts. Complete nuts. Why he wastes his time, I don't know. He thinks he can move them in their position. It's not going to happen. And in fact, as soon as he said, it's funny, you're watching a video, and as soon as he listened to him, he let him talk, he just kept his mouth shut, he listened, he let him go and let him go. Finally, after about 2 or 3 minutes, he goes, okay, well, and here's the answer. You're going to like it, but no, I would not end deportations because, hey, there are some people who need to be deported to felons. But as soon as he said no, they started their chant. They started their chant. They don't want to hear it. Not even from a liberal. And, of course, Trump triggering the loons on the left. He started very early on Sunday morning with the tweets. And, of course, he was suggesting to the 4 horsewomen of the apocalypse that they go back to the countries they came from and fix those countries there and then come back and show us how it's done. Yeah, that's a very good message, and he took a lot of heat for it, but I agree with that 100%. I mean, they come from places that are shitholes. And they're shitholes because of the policies. So then what they do is they'll escape there to come here, and then they complain because we don't have the same policies that they had where they came from, which is what resulted in those countries becoming shitholes, which is why they had to leave in the first place. So, and he's suggesting that Madam Botox would be more than happy to assist them in travel arrangements, paying for their flights to send them back where they came from. So what Trump's actually doing here, he doesn't care about any of this. All this is that Trump wants to continue to stir the pot and keep the demo commies divided amongst himself and fighting amongst each other. That's what he wants. He wants to keep these people fighting each other until 2020 and beyond. And he's doing a great job of it. Every time they start to make peace a little bit, he throws another barb in there, knowing how they're going to respond, knowing that the demo commies are going to go way over the top and come up with some crazy idea that the centrist Democrats or business Democrats or Pelosi are going to have to somehow try to defend, and they can't. And again, as I said in a previous video earlier in the week, I said Pelosi will win the war, but AOC and the crazy radical left wing of that party are winning the battles right now, and they're probably going to win the battle up into 2020 because, as I said, Pelosi's losing this fight. She'll win. Ultimately, in the end, she'll win. She'll get rid of these four, and any of them like her. But in the meantime, if you look at the top tier contenders in the Democratic Party right now for the nomination, they are all on the far left. They are all kind of with the Ocasio-Cortez wing of the party. That's where most of the top contenders are. And that's why Pelosi is losing the battle. Trump commenting on Paul Ryan, because as you know, Paul Big Ears Eddie Munster Ryan has a book coming out where he trashes Trump. It's Paul Ryan's fault that we're in this immigration situation in the first place. That should have been the thing that he got done before he left Congress, whether he liked Trump or not. Whether he liked Trump or not. Paul Big Ears Eddie Munster Ryan had the opportunity to get something done on immigration, and he spit the bit. That and a lot of other things. He was a freaking disaster, and nobody likes him very much. I don't like him very much. I know most of you don't like him very much. So Big Ears Eddie Munster Ryan has a book coming out, and so Trump was dogging him on Twitter as well, and he described Paul Big Ears Eddie Munster Ryan as being weak, ineffective, and stupid. He says he almost killed the GOP. He's absolutely correct. Trump saved the Republican Party. Lindsey Graham saying he is going to do a deep dive after the Horowitz report comes out. Well, that's good, but you know, Huckleberry Horowitz, of course, the custodian, his job is to clean up the mess. And if he can delay that as long as possible, that's what he will do. If Huckleberry Horowitz can drag this thing out to 2029, he will. So I wouldn't be waiting around for Huckleberry. Lindsey Graham doesn't need Huckleberry Horowitz and his report to go to work on the situation right now. Just about any document I imagine he wants, he can go look at. He's the head of the Judiciary Committee. He can go into a SCIF and look at documents. He knows pretty much what's going on. There's enough information out there right now. And I wouldn't be waiting for Huckleberry Horowitz. I'd go ahead and start having those hearings now. And on top of that, we have Devin Nunes. Another thing he said on Fox over the weekend that I like is he said that he's trying to get Adam the Bug-Eye Fool Schiff to agree to having some hearings where they bring in, I think he mentioned 42 people. 42 people that would have been people involved in the coup. He wants to bring them in for open hearings. Devin Nunes wants to bring these 42 people in for open hearings. That would have been a great idea when you were head of the House Intelligence Committee. That's when you should have done it. Trying to get Schiff to do it now is going to be very, very tough. Should have been done when you were heading up that committee, my good man. Lindsay, okay, yeah, we just did that. Ilhan Omar says that the squad is trying to grab power from the leadership. That's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to grab power from the leadership. Good luck with that one. Good luck with that. Oh, by the way, who's going to be the next commie-crat to jump out of the race, to get out of the race? Swallowwell's gone. Who do you think will be next? Probably this week, we're probably going to get another one, maybe two are going to drop out. My guess is the next one that will go will be Gillibrand. Gillibrand, she too, just like Swallowwell, is polling at around 0%, somewhere in that range. I think she'll be the next to go. There just won't be any money there to continue. Then we have Paul Sperry telling us that a newly discovered email exchange between Carter Page and Waleed Faris shows us that Carter Page proposed not going to the new economic school so that he could let Trump take the spotlight, and that, of course, would further undercut the idea that Page traveled to Moscow to take a bribe. Okay, we got to get to Dumbass of the Week. I'll get to this tomorrow. Alrighty, Dumbass of the Week. Let's see, we have Ricky Ricardo. He's going with the Rotten Reverend Clinton as Dumbass of the Year. Yes, the Rotten Reverend Clinton should get a Millennial Award for that lifelong crime spree. Hopefully that will be coming to an end soon. Hopefully Barr or somebody will actually put that damn woman in jail before she does any more damage. Youngblood, he's going to go with anyone who believes a Democrat for number one. Number two, he likes AOC. And, of course, the women's soccer team would get his third pick. Joe Mack, he's going with Megan and the other boys on the team. Yeah, it's talking about Megan Rapinoe. So it looks like Gene is going to go with Megan Rapinoe along with AOC and Pelosi. TW Wintex, he's going to go with the Rotten Reverend. Always a good choice, in my opinion. Sherman Lynn, he likes Epstein for coming back to the U.S. after the sweetheart deal. Yeah, I mean, I thought so too. I mean, why'd the guy come back to the country, right? I mean, he should know that he's got these feds, all over him. And you'd thought that he would stay out there on his island or whatever. But I heard also, I don't know if this is true or not, but I was kind of hearing from something I was reading, I can't remember where, that he knew when he landed in New York that he was going to be arrested. So I don't know, why he landed, but maybe he needed gas. I don't know. But that's kind of what I was hearing, is that he knew he was going to be arrested. Let's see. Lightwater is going to go with Uncle Bob, the drive-by executioner, for his postponed testimony. Yep, that's a good one. Jeanette, she's going to go with Megan Rapinoe, along with Slick Willie, for his denials about his close association with Epstein. And of course, number 3, she's going with the news reporter who started the crap with Sebastian Gorka. We have Susan. She is going for Gillibrand for explaining her white privilege and nearly coming to tears while doing so. I don't think she'll be around very long. She's weak. Then, of course, we have her second pick would be this Lori Lightfoot. Of course, she's the Chicago mayor who's obstructing the efforts of ICE to get the illegals out of her city, but she doesn't care how many of these illegals commit crimes, drive up the cost of healthcare and everything else. She's going to take good care of them. The citizens be damned. Well done, Susan. Joey D. Joey D is going to go with Les Wexner. Of course, Joey lives in Ohio, just like me and Larry. And so we know who Les Wexner is. He's the Ohio billionaire. Of course, it appears that he helped Epstein get rich in more ways than one. Sane environmentalist. He's going to go with the Democrats that were at that Holman hearing. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that was pathetic. But Holman did a very good job, and he totally dressed down Ocasio-Cortez and made her look like an idiot, which is not too hard to do because she's an idiot. Larry, he's going to go with Alan Dershowitz. Yeah, I mean, that's a good one, Larry. I mean, Dershowitz kind of caught up in this thing, too. He was a defense attorney in some of this stuff, and so I assume Dershowitz can explain it like only Dershowitz can. He can always explain his position regardless of which side he's on. That's why they pay him so much money. That's what it's called a good lawyer, right? Jonathan, he's going to go with Alex Acosta and the Justice Dems. And then Kamala is his third pick. Very well done, Jonathan. We have Kimmy going with Megan Rapinoe. The protesters at the Colorado detention centers. Oh, yes. And, of course, the reporter that went after Sebastian Gorka. We have Old Lee. I don't think he's that old. But Old Lee is telling us he thinks it's the American voters that keep electing these demo commies. You're absolutely right, and he expands on that in his comment. Absolutely right, Dr. Lee. When you look, or Old Lee, I should say, when you look back at it, you have to, you get the government that you vote for, and unfortunately, about half the country is nuts. And because of them, we've got Democrats. We have Internet Protection Privacy Advocate going with Kamala Harris. Always a good pick because of her political platform, which is totally based on racism. Absolutely correct. I mean, that's a very good observation, IPA. If you listen to Kamala Harris, almost every point that she makes, she ties to racism. And it gets old, and it's not going to work. I don't think she's as strong a candidate as a lot of people think she is now. It's only because the field is so damn weak that she looks even viable. Patty Willing. Patty is going to go with Ocasio-Cortez and Megan Rapinoe. Then we have Mark. He's going to go with the New Zealand PhDs. the New Zealand PhDs that want to try to bring women into men's professional sports. Yes, but I love to see it just for one weekend. Please, just one weekend. Just for the entertainment value. The ratings will be sky high. And of course, he has a little Note there, welcome to the NFL, Ray Nitschke. Those of you who live up in Green Bay, you know who Ray Nitschke is. And I know who Ray Nitschke is. Well done, Mark. He was a tough man. That whole team, that whole era, the 1960s NFL, them were some tough people, man. Tough people. Mara's going to go with the with the Bull Dyke. She's going to go with the Bull Dyke. Megan Bull Dyke Rapinoe. Well done, Mara. Well done, Mara. That's exactly what I would like to describe her as. I'm glad you did that for me. So she's going to go with Megan Bull Dyke Rapinoe along with AOC. We have Keith going with the Occasional Cortex and Heels Up Harris. Heels Up Harris. I like that. Can I use that? I might steal that from you, Keith. Hope you don't mind. Heels Up Harris. He's talking about Kamala. Peter Swells. Isikoff. He's going to go with Isikoff because of Isikoff's constant articles on everything from the coup to the dossier to the Seth Rich conspiracy. And, of course, about a month ago, he comes out and writes an article saying, well, I guess we may have been wrong about that dossier. Looks like it may have been bullshit. After he spent an entire year and a half pushing it. Yeah, he's talked about selling your soul. Man, that guy sold his soul to the devil. Absolutely. We have MCM McDo going with Megan Rapinoe along with AOC. We have Peter James, our great friend from the Great Northwest, going with Ocasio-Cortez, Joe Bite Me, and the reporter that ripped Gorka. That reporter is doing pretty good today. Dennis Shaw, he's going to go with Pelosi and Ocasio-Cortez for throwing grenades at each other. Yes, indeed. Very, very, very good. And Trump's giving them all the ammunition they need, all the grenades they need. Gordon, he's also going to go with AOC and Pelosi. We have Ginger Lee, Congress, all of them. I understand your feelings there, Ginger Lee, and it was a very good comment, very good analysis on that comment. We have Mark, he's going to go with the DNC leadership for partnering with the radicals. Yeah, in a way, Mark, I don't know if they had any choice. Originally, they went ahead with it, but now they're paying a heavy price for it, so you're absolutely correct. John Wan, he's going to go with Megan Rapinoe and AOC. Man, oh man, that's a popular combination this week, is it not? That's a duo right there. Net, also going with Megan Rapinoe and AOC. We have JC going with AOC and Rapinoe, along with Joe Sliden. He's sliding on down the polls. Walker on the Hill is going with the wild-eyed commie AOC. Joe Soban. Joe, he's going to go with the bully bitch Rapinoe. Bully bitch. Alan is going to go with Rapinoe. Ann is going to go with Ocasio-Cortez. And Strawwin Love is going to go with idiots who want women in men's sports. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay, so we had a fairly close call this week. The winner is going to be the wild-eyed commie Ocasio-Cortez, literally by one vote. AOC wins by one vote over second-place finisher Megan Rapinoe, the Bull Dyke. Yes, that's right. And number 3, we had a 3-way tie for third place between Legs Up Kamala, along with Pelosi and the reporter who attacked Gorka. So there you go. The winner this week, AOC. Number 2, Megan Rapinoe. And number 3 position, we have a 3-way tie with Kamala, Madam Botox, and the reporter who went after Gorka. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow with more TowerGate. See you guys. Have a good day. Bye.